Actor famous for portraying super spy James Bond pleads guilty to violating safety rules in Yellowstone. The Republican Party's Wyoming caucus and Freedom Caucus are squaring off for upcoming primary election battles, and an iconic lodge in the Bighorn Mountains is back open for business. We'll take a look at these stories and more today from Wyoming's largest news organization. I'm Wendy Kaur for Cowboy State Daily. Actor Brosnan on Thursday pleaded guilty and was fined $1,500 for going off trail and stepping onto a restricted area at Mammoth Hot Springs in Yellowstone last November to take a photo. Cowboy State Daily's Andrew Rossi was at the hearing and said the actor famous for portraying super spy James Bond was very remorseful.
In November, Brosnan took a photograph of himself standing on the Hallett Spring in Mammoth Hot Springs. Brosnan was genuinely remorseful. He said several times unprompted how sorry he was that he did it. In his defense, there were no signs in the immediate vicinity saying you couldn't. And he said several times, had he known, he certainly would have made different choices.
Brosnan told the judge that he felt highly embarrassed and ashamed and called his actions a foolish thing to do. During his 2018 gubernatorial campaign, Mark Gordon promised in a Gun Owners of America survey that he'd sign legislation to eliminate gun-free zones in Wyoming. Now that bill is on his desk, according to Cowboy State Daily's Mark Hines, and it's time for Gordon to make that decision.
They have a survey, has Governor Gordon's marks and signatures, that during the 2018 race for governor, they asked all the gubernatorial candidates at that time, if given the opportunity, would they sign legislation to eliminate gun-free zones? And at least at that time, Governor Gordon indicated yes and signed it as such. And so they're holding that up again. We asked Governor Gordon's office for comment, no comment on any of this.
Past attempts have failed to pass legislation to rid Wyoming of gun-free zones, including during the legislature's last general session in 2023. Well, now that the 2024 legislative session is over, Wyoming's political focus shifts to the Republican primary. Cowboy State Daily's Leo Wolfson said the primary is setting up to be a battleground between the state Republican Party's two main factions, the Wyoming Caucus and the Wyoming Freedom Caucus.
For those who generally support most of the bills that have come out of the Wyoming legislature in the last few years and the leadership of the body, will probably support a candidate that's more associated with the Wyoming Caucus. For those who want a vivid change to the makeup of the legislature and believe that there's too many compromised Republicans in there failing to adhere to the party's values, they'll probably be more connected to a candidate supported by the Wyoming Freedom Caucus.
So far, at least 7 candidates for the legislature around the state have already formally announced they're running for election or re-election this year. I'll be back with more news right after this.
Every single day, AmeriCorps members and AmeriCorps Seniors volunteers are out there making a real difference in our communities. And this year, during AmeriCorps Week, something special is happening. On Tuesday, March 12th, mayors from coast to coast are coming together to honor those who serve as part of Mayor's Day for National Service. Join us in celebrating the dedication and impact of these unsung Wyoming heroes. Together, we can tackle our state and nation's challenges and build a brighter future. Learn more at servewyoming.org.
The house in Grable, in which a 4-year-old boy nearly starved to death, had plenty of available food in it. In charging documents filed against the boyfriend of the boy's mother, Ty Myers, Grable Police Chief Ken Blosser said he observed 2 freezers, a refrigerator, and a pantry all full of food. That's according to Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland.
When police executed a search warrant on their home, they found food in the pantry and the refrigerator. And this is in context, of course, to a child abuse expert who said the boy was so weak and famished he could not possibly have been moving or playing the day he was hospitalized.
Myers is charged with 1 count of felony child abuse and another of misdemeanor methamphetamine possession. And a Minnesota family has purchased and reopened an iconic lodge in the Bighorn Mountains. There had been rumors that Deer Haven Lodge near Ten Sleep was going to be torn down, but Clint and Amy Whitliff rescued the beloved resort last summer, according to Cowboy State Daily's Mark Hines.
It's really just kind of a tucked out of the way, but really well-beloved classic Wyoming getaway. In recent years, it kind of fell into disrepair a little bit, and the previous owners decided they wanted to move on. And so a family from Minnesota decided to go ahead and buy it. As time goes on, they are hoping to add side-by-side UTV rentals in the summer and snowmobile rentals in the winter.
For now, the lodge's main bar and restaurant section are open, as well as its 6 motel rooms. The rental cabins aren't quite ready yet. And that's today's news. Get your free digital subscription to Wyoming's only statewide newspaper by hitting the subscribe button on CowboyStateDaily.com. I'm Wendy Kaur for Cowboy State Daily.